If you're able to pinpoint and freeze frame the exact moment, you will see the biggest, oh, I effed up face that you will ever see on television. And it is glorious. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. The third episode of House of the Dragon Season 2 is here. It is called The Burning Mill. It's interesting that they call it that, considering that they don't really show us the battle that happens on on the Burning Mill. But it does have a reverberation that sort of affects both the green and the black houses. So what I like about this episode, and those people get upset about that, is that they didn't show a full-scale battle. But I know a lot of people have been like, hey, they haven't shown this series, unlike Game of Thrones, has not had a big battle or climactic sequence yet. I think we're going to get that the next episode, which is sort of, I think it's called The Dance of the Dragons. We're going to get some action. This episode is a lot about putting your chess pieces in place, moving people to safety, getting your stuff sort of shored up before we go into that battle. It's sort of got doing those last things, and then eventually trying to see if you can get that last second plea to say, hey, can better heads prevail? Or have we gone to the point of no return? Turns out they've gone to the point of no return, but not for reasons that you would actually think. A simple mistake or misunderstanding of a story changes everything. So this episode opens with the Bracken and the Blackwoods having a bit of a disagreement, and they have put their allegiances to the Targaryens and some to Queen Rhaenyra, but they're not actually of that bloodline or of that family. They've sort of just put their allegiance to that, so much so that they're willing to die and start a complete and total battle for it. And it gets to a point where they are angry and discussing things, and it doesn't really have anything to do with the actual war. They just wanted to fight. Like, they wanted to do it anyway, and this is sort of giving them a reason to do so. But they show them sort of doing the seeds or the start of the battle. It's like one of them the Blackwoods pull a sword, so on and so forth, and then all of a sudden you get a pull-out frame and a change and just show that a massive battle has taken place. There's smoke, there's blood, there's swords everywhere. There is complete and total bloodshed, all in the name Targaryen and Queen Rhaenyra. But neither of them are there, and nor are they really a part of this battle. This is happening in their name, but without them being present. But it gets back to both houses, so they all have to have sort of round tables with their councils to sort of discuss it. Before we get to those, the only person that's sort of kind of in their own story in this episode is Daemon. Daemon goes to Harrenhal and claims it. He wants to claim it. I'm claiming Harrenhal, which is amazing. The last time that we saw Harrenhal, it was being burned to the crisp by Lord Larys Strong. But there are still some people who are hanging on to the remnants of that of that castle and of that world. So Daemon goes there and is willing. Seems like he's willing to fight anybody and everybody that's there. Be damned if having any backup to kind of go make his claim there, make that a stronghold, because that is sort of the last big castle that hasn't formed an allegiance or hasn't gone one way or the other. And with all the surrounding buildings that sort of exist, they're the ones that can help sway one normally, are ones that can help sway one way or the other. Daemon goes there to sort of create an olive branch for his big F up to Rhaenyra. But he goes there, and Simon Strong is there, and he completely bends a knee, like, quickly. Like, nope, cool. We'll acquiesce to whatever you want. We'll pledge our allegiance to Queen Rhaenyra. But he lets them know that we don't have the influence that we once had. Like, and most people have picked their sides already. But Daemon wants to make sure that you are not still with Larys Strong, Larys is clearly with Aegon. And they're like, nope, we ain't got nothing to do with him. They all sort of know who's responsible for where they are now and what's happened to them. But this place is a mysterious place. It seems like the fire has sort of caused spookiness to sort of exist in this world. And there's a cool shot. It's really shot well. When Daemon's trying to first like walk in, have a sword, it's beautifully shot. And then we get a bit of a nightmare sequence with him in there, where he has sort of a flashback memory or a memory of Rhaenyra. When he goes in to see, though, it's not adult grown up Rhaenyra. It is young Rhaenyra, played by Millie. And so a little bit of Easter egg with Millie there, but she is sewing the head of Daenerys, who is dead, kind of humming and just like basically said, "You're always in and out of things, and I'm always having to fix your mess." And then he snaps out of it, and then is randomly told, like, "Hey, real quick, you're gonna die here." Can't be comforting to have. It is important to note that I think that he saw Rhaenyra in that form for a reason. I think for him, that was when he was in control, when he was the elder and she was the young person, and she sort of looked up to him and listened to him and was sort of in awe of him. That's the best sort of relationship that he had with her. And now that she's in control, that she's the queen, he doesn't have that power dynamic anymore. So now he has to acquiesce. And so I think that was an important reason why that was placed there the way that it was. And that's all we sort of get with Daemon. And then we go to the two councils. I'm taking them separately because they lead to each other. We'll go to Hightower and Aegon first. Christian Cole is in his room, sort of feeling a little bit of guilt for effing up and sending Eric to his death. He knows he jacked that up. And he shows up late to council. And he sees some knights outside of the council table that he doesn't know. And Aegon lets him know, like, yeah, I had to hire some new folks because some people sent people off and we had to replace them because they're not here anymore. And everybody sort of has a little slick way of saying to him, "You effed up." They don't always just come out and say it, but they all do it in a sly way, like Allison says something. Everybody just says something to this. Now, it's important to know that this council is sort of set up in a way now that there is no longer a person like Otto present. So reason or being intelligent about things or thinking about things with some type of idea outside of Allison doesn't occur here. However, nobody's listening to Lady Hightower. She's the only woman in the room and no one's paying her any attention. So how she said in the first episode, "You keep shooting me down and they don't respect it, so give me some power." Now that he's gone, she has nothing. They're not listening to her at all. And I think Christian Cole feels this type of way about how their relationship, quote unquote, is going. And so he's sort of being dismissive of her too. Christian Cole continues to be the worst and comes up with this great idea to take knights and go attack the Riverlands, to sort of secure more armies through that land, because that's the best passageway to get from one place to another through the realm. Allison feels like it's a terrible idea. She's like, we don't have the men or the timing to sort of train them up well enough to do this. And Cole's like, basically, like, shut your mouth. You don't know what you're talking about. This is the best way we're going to do it. And Aegon agrees. Aegon kind of falls back because he's very much like, we need to be on the attack. We need to be on the attack. We need to be on the attack. Aegon, however, wants to add a little bit more fuel to the fire. Literally, he wants to take his dragons and put them in place. So he was like, Aemon, you should go out with your dragon. I'll go out with mine. This will be great. And everybody sort of has to call him off that ledge. Like, no, Aemon needs to stay here with his dragon to protect here. Otherwise, we'd be under attack. And I don't think it's the best for you to go out there either. You're the king. That doesn't seem like a good idea. But he's all gung-ho. He's like, nope, this is what I'm doing. Again, there is no Otto here to sort of set things straight. Like, that's a terrible idea. They're all sort of yes men, which is probably going to cause an issue as things go along. Allison's brother shows up. His name is Gwaine, and he is I feel like he's a bigger a-hole than Cole. But for me, because I adamantly hate Cole, I kind of like him. I don't mind him. But he clearly doesn't know what he's doing. He's the younger brother to Allison. Allison quickly tags him along. It's like, hey, you should go on this trek with Sir Christian Cole. Christian's like, I don't need him. And he gives Cole some ish about it. You can also see there's a moment where I think he clocks that there might be something between his sister and Cole. He doesn't mention it. He just kind of like checks it in his Rolodex and then just goes on. As they're out making their trek through, Cole has an idea of where to stop and take solace. And Gwaine's kind of like, well, let's go to some inns. Let's go have some fun. Let's go do this. And then all of a sudden, Cole clocks that Baela is in the air doing a search and sees them. And it's like, hey, we got to get the hell out. We need to run. They start booking it for trees so that they can get cover. Baela finally sees them and kind of comes in Comes in pretty low, probably not to as where Rhaenyra wanted her to. She makes a look when she finds that out, but comes in pretty low and clocks that it's Cole. She doesn't recognize any of the knights, but she just knows it's knights. And then she gets out of there after waiting for a little bit to see if they actually come out, because she was told not to attack, just watch. She then heads back and gets that information back to Rhaenyra. Aegon is preparing to get on his dragon and join them and to go with them, so this could have gotten messy. But Loras comes in, and this is where we start seeing sort of the machinations of him getting on the good side of Aegon. But he goes in and tells him basically to not go on the dragon and to not go into war, and to not get up there, but does it in a way that doesn't make him feel emasculated or less of a man or less of a king. And Aegon sort of appreciates that and says, hey, look, I like you. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm a fan of you, and I want you around more. And Loras is like, cool, I appreciate that, my lord. So instead of going out on his dragon, he decides to take his boys, his knights, and get drunk. Now, here's the interesting thing. I feel like this is a bad idea. The last time, Aegon, that you got drunk with your boys, your child died. You might want to stop drinking. But that does not have an effect on him. So he goes to the local tavern, gets lodged up with his friends, and eventually ends up in like the whorish house area of the tavern, and runs across Aemon, who's there with his lover, who is also a whore, but it's the only person that Aemon's ever actually been with. And Aegon is letting him have it. It's like, he's completely three sheets, but this is how he is. He's made whole to his brother, which is amazing because his brother is clearly the better warrior of the two. But he's letting him have it. It's like, oh, this is hilarious. This is the only person you've ever been with a person who's a whore? Oh, that is sad, brother. He's just demeaning her while kind of emasculating him. And then Aemon just stands up, full naked, full Monty there, and it's like, all right, if one of your squires wants the whore, they can have her. It's sort of his way to take some type of saving, but basically at the behest of the woman there. A lot of this episode is about how much power and how much ignorance the men hold in this world, and how once they get moving, there's nothing you can really do to stop that ball from rolling downhill. That is the Alicent Lady Hightower side. Queen Rhaenyra, she gets word of the battle of Burning Hill, and says this is getting out of hand. Like, people are killing each other in the names of us, and we weren't even present. And they bury Eric there, and Rhaenyra is like, I'm not mad at either of them. I'm not mad at Eric for coming to try. He was just doing his duty. He was doing what he was asked to do. And that's when Rhaenys comes in. It's like, we all know that if Otto was still there, this wouldn't have occurred. Like, Otto's clearly no longer in power over there, and there's no sort of decorum or right of reasoning or war ethics that are taking place anymore. It's just bedlam. I think you need to talk to Alicent. Like, you need to have a conversation with Alicent. And she's like, look, that ship has sailed. She thinks I killed her grandchild. I have a kid that's dead in this. Like, I think we've gone past the point of no return, right? And he's just like, we should not have bloodshed when it's not necessary. Rhaenys starts saying, like, there's no war as bad as between kin, and there's no war that is more dangerous than with dragons. Like, the second the dragons start getting involved, violence ensues from both sides. Like, there's nothing we can do. There's no way to pull that back once it starts. We should have a conversation to make sure that we've kind of touched all bases before we actually go out and do this. Rhaenyra's like, that ain't happening. Mysaria wants to thank you from Rhaenyra about giving her the heads up that the other twin was there. And Rhaenyra is like, okay, well, what do you want? And Mysaria says, I want a seat at your table. Like, I want to be a part of your crew. Rhaenyra's like, okay, perhaps we can work something out. Perhaps we can do that. It's interesting because it's probably the only other woman that would Rhaenys. Like, you would notice the difference between Rhaenyra's cabinet has Rhaenys there, kind of almost like as her number two, and now is putting this woman in. There's men around, but they're actually listening. And they all have sort of a say, whereas on the other side, nobody's listening to Lady Hightower. It's also interesting to see how it'll be once, if and when Daemon returns, how he'll respond to Mysaria being in good favor with Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra's also talking about like moving her family off the board. She knows the Dragonstone is dangerous. They're going to start coming here. If those battles are taking place randomly in the name of whatever, I'm not safe here. They've already sent somebody to try to kill me here. It's not safe for my family here, so I need to send them off. But she wants to send them with someone, so she goes up to Rhaena, Baela's sister, and she says, Rhaena, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go back to Pentos. Now, mind you, this is the place where her mother was killed. I need you to go back there. It's the safest place here in the realm. I need you to go back there with my kids, all of them, and because I need you to protect. And Rhaena's like, well, hold on. My sister gets to stay here is because she has a dragon. She's like, well, you don't have one. And the best thing that you can do for me right now is I need you to be a mother to my kids and keep them safe and shield them while I am not there. And Rhaena is feeling a type of way about this. She just feels like I'm just being put on mother duty, and that's not really something that's useful of her talents. Baela sort of talks her down a little bit, but then it helps too when she realizes that she's not just watching the kid, she's also in charge of watching 4 eggs, dragon eggs, that are going to grow and kind of change the trajectory of whatever is happening within their family. So she feels a little bit more important than just watching Rhaenyra's kids or being the babysitter for Rhaenyra's kids. I don't know why not watching the Queen alone kids wasn't enough, but the dragon piece helps her feel a little bit more importance in what she is doing. Rhaenyra then returns to her council. Her council's kind of just like, look, real quick, we need to go to battle immediately. Like, stuff is happening. People are coming here. People are trying to kill you here. Like, we need to quit playing games, and we need to go attack and kill them now. Start using our dragons. Do everything that we possibly can. And then perhaps, this is what the guys say to her, perhaps you should go into hiding and let us sort of make the decisions here. Which is very patronizing and a little sexist, but more so patronizing. And saying that, hey, you should go away and let us run this from here. You clearly don't know what you're doing. Just get out of here. And Rhaenyra shuts that down real quick. Like, that's close to treason. And if you keep talking, we're going to have to deal with that. But I'm going to say that good thing that you didn't keep going. So we're going to let that lie. She's like, but that's not happening. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here. We then have another moment. We do see Rhaenys going to Corlys to just say, hey, we need to make a change with where we get our birthright to our heir. When Corlys is just not having it. He's like, nope. Don't come talk to me another time. We're not doing anything yet. And then Rhaenyra gets a message from Baela, coming at full circle with that, to say, hey, yo, I saw Sir Criston Cole. I saw him with some other knights, and they're clearly heading toward the river to strengthen their squad. And that's when the table once again says from the rooftops, we need to go fight. Let's go fight them. Let's go burn all those trees down. Like, let's quit playing games. Let's just go set them all on fire. And Rhaenyra keeps saying the second that dragons are involved, all gloves are off. Like, we need to think of anything else humanly possible before we start going. Dragon should not be our first line of defense. That's the push button, flip the glass open, push the red button sequence. We're not there yet. So she starts thinking. She remembers the letter that Alicent gave her, saying that she would be a great queen and a true queen. And she's like, well, maybe this might be the way to go. So she starts thinking about what Rhaenys said at the very beginning. It's like, maybe talking to her might be the best way to do this. So Rhaenyra already tries to cash in her new found relationship with Mysaria and say, hey, Mysaria, how well do you know the keep? Is there a way for me to get in there and have a conversation with Alicent? Like, I don't want to get a message to her because she's going to think it's a lie or it's a setup or something like I would. I need to sit with her face to face. Mysaria thinks a little bit and is like, okay, I think I have an idea. There's fisher boats going in and out of there all the time. She meets at this church regularly. We can go in and have you there because there's a lot of time where she's alone in there. And it seemed like a crazy idea. Like, you are the queen, you're going to walk through the keep, but there's a thing that's brought up, and it shows you how little the men think of the women here. But Alicent asks, like, well, hold on, I can't just go walk through the keep. I'm me. And Mysaria is like, well, look, unless you're wearing queen garbs or dressed like a woman who is trying to get the attention of men, whores, no one's going to pay attention to you. Men will see you as nothing and just and walk past you. So you will be fine, which is a far more damning thing than I think they are intending for it to be. It just says a lot about this world and this time. But the plan works. They get on the boat. It seems it's a bit intense. She sees Allison making her way to the church, and she's making her way through. And they get there together and wind up having a conversation together, which is great. This is the first time this season that we got to get Darcy and Olivia together on screen. It's powerful. It's a really well written and well delivered scene. This scene alone is worth the price for admission of this episode. So I think this episode does, like I said, a lot of, we're doing all the stuff before the big battle. This is the moment this episode needs to say, I tried one more last ditch effort. Let me talk to each. Let's have a conversation. So Lady Hightower and Queen Rhaenyra have a conversation. And originally Rhaenyra tries to speak to the sensibilities of Alicent as a woman. Like friends, we were girls together. We always talked about how the men were in control of everything. The men were often left off to their devices, and we want to grow up one day to sort of have our seat at the table. And we're having that. We're good. Let's use that to say, hey guys, let's bring this down. Let's all calm down. Let's not go to war. And Alicent's like, well, are you surrendering? She's like, no, I think we can find a different way to sort of come to a amicable conclusion or resolution to this. And Alicent's like, well, that time has sort of passed. Like, you killed my grandchild. It's like, and you killed my kid. And they both sort of poo-poo, knowing that we truly know that neither of us had anything to do with that. They're aware. They're like, we know each other. Like, while this is a battle that we're going through, we know that we wouldn't have stooped to that length to actually do that. And then we get on the story of Queen Rhaenyra's father, Alicent's husband, and what he said at his deathbed. And Queen Rhaenyra is adamant, like, I swear to you, he has said from the jump that I was the successor. I'm the queen. I'm the queen. I'm the queen. He has never. I am not lying. That is what has always been the case. And Alicent's like, no, he changed his mind. And she's pretty adamant about that. She's like, look, I'm telling you, I swear on my mother's grave, which for Rhaenyra sets her back a minute, like, well, hold on. If you're doing that, I know how much your mother meant to you. That's a lot. Maybe I misjudged this. Maybe I read this wrong. Am I wrong? Like, maybe she did. Can you tell me exactly what it was that he said? Because maybe I'm in the wrong here. And this is where this gets it gets messy real fast. You can see the look on their faces when it happens. But Alicent starts describing the fire and ice story that was always told from her father, from Queen Rhaenyra's father to Rhaenyra. It's the exact same word for about Aegon the Conqueror, story of fire and ice, so on and so forth. And Rhaenyra starts telling her the story from her side point. It's like, this is what this is, this is what this is. And it's immediate to her. She's like, yeah, that's the story of the fire and ice. Like, he told that to me all the time. And it's immediate that Alicent's like, wait, that was a story? Oh, damn. Oh. And just the look on her face of just pure, like, I have gravely effed this up. And then to the point you can see Rhaenyra's face, like, are you serious? Like, we're doing all of this because of a story? And Rhaenyra's quickly like, well, we got to stop this. We got to pull out. Like, this clearly was just a big misunderstanding. And Alicent's like, no, that ship is sailed. Otto's not here, and I'm in a room full of men that don't listen to me. I don't have the power that you have. You need to get the hell up out of here, because there is nothing that I can do anymore. Like, I have no power. I am just, I'm just here. And now she's like, I feel even worse now, because now I'm putting my family through all of this bloodshed that's about to take place, and I know it was just a simple misunderstanding. Jesus. It's like, sensibility is gone. You know who my sons are. You know who Aemon is. You know who Aegon is. I'm pretty much shut out the council. It's great that you came to talk to me, but clearly in this world of women, and we've seen out throughout this entire episode that women don't have much of a leg on to stand on, you're the only person who has any type of power on your side. But over here, I got nothing. So yeah, we're going to war. So get ready. And that's how it ends. Again, this one's a slower, probably the slowest moving episode of the season, but that last 10 minutes with just Allison and Renee, there's just so much that happens in that scene that is a culmination of everything that's come before and sort of a launching pad for everything that comes going forward. It's just to show that Allison, she's just a cog in the wheel now, that she's set this into motion and there's really nothing that can be done to stop it. I believe the next episode, we've already have a title, is The Dance of the Dragons, and yeah, it's about to get wild. About to get wild real fast. What did you guys think about this episode? How great was the scene of seeing Emma and Olivia together, and even seeing Miss Millie back in the dream sequence as the Princess Rhaenyra. Go leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDid@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name. That's on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any other place podcasts. We're there. And like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.